Hello, lovely ladies, and welcome to day 22 of a month of grace. And today I dare to talk about it. um, Today we give ourselves forgiveness. I give myself forgiveness, and I hope you do the same for you and for other people. You know, there is much talk about forgiveness. Some spiritual teachers say that it doesn't even make sense to forgive because on the spiritual level, you can forgive someone because no one can hurt you. And yet, even though I agree with those teachers, I also disagree with them because here in 3D reality, we do hurt each other, unfortunately, still. Because we hurt ourselves, we are not kind to ourselves, we are unloving to ourselves, a lot of times unconscious and unaware of what we're doing, really, because there are programs running in the back that have us do those kind of things. And it's not like that we are not the masters of ourselves, because we are the masters and the leaders of our lives, but we don't know what we don't know. So it starts with awareness. It starts with being aware of what just happened, of what happened, of the situation. And what I also wanted to say first is that I feel forgiveness or the process of forgiving is so intertwined with the process of grieving, because I do think that we first have to go through all the stages of grief in order to be able to find the liberation within us that sets us free, which is forgiveness. The frequency, the force, whatever you want to call it, when it happens, it's not just like you decide, oh, I forgive you, but still you hold some resentment and grudges. It's not just like that. That's why, like, repeating the mantra, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, just doesn't work like that. If you don't feel it, then it is not a truth, and it's not the truth of the heart. And the heart is such an important part. That's why we want to have the heart open. That's why we practice to be in the heart. That's why we practice being kind, compassionate, always coming back to the heart. That's where it really starts. It can be absolutely messy. It's not just like, oh, something happened and I forgive you. That's spiritual bypassing. That's not what we're doing here. We're going deep. And again, this is just my take on forgiveness, and maybe you have a total different process. I don't want to even call it process, because it's not even a process. It's just when the heart is open, and when you're in the heart, and when you are at the state, and whenever it comes, I don't know when it comes for you, whenever you are ready to accept what happened, to open up yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, to understand and to accept the higher truth of what underlies this situation, then there is a greater possibility for you to set it free for good. And that is when forgiveness happens. And let me tell you something. As some of you know, I do Dr. Joe meditations daily. I've been doing them for now 3 years, and this is actually my 3-year anniversary of doing Dr. Joe's meditations. I'm so proud of myself. And I had many mystical experiences, but there was one profound one, and it happened at home, not at the retreat, but it happened at home. All of a sudden, a light came through my crown chakra, and it opened me up. It opened my heart, and all of a sudden everything was just warm and throbbing, and I felt so alive, and my heart was open like it has never opened before, and I felt love. I was in oneness, like so much, another level of oneness. I don't have words for it. And in this moment, everything was one, because there was no future, there was no past, it was just happening all at once. And I could feel every person that I've interacted with in my life, every lover, every friend, ex-lover, every friend, ex-friend, and you name it. And I felt the utmost love for them. There was no grievances, there was no grudges, there was no resentment whatsoever. There was no place for that at all. Everything was just love. And I was in love with all of them. I understood the greater teachings. It was a flood of joy. It was a flood of, oh my God, bliss. I've never felt so much bliss in my life. And I felt true forgiveness. And yes, I understand what those spiritual teachers mean by there is no forgiveness, there is no such thing as forgiveness, because in the state there was nothing to forgive, because everything needed to happen. And yet we are not always in this state when our heart is that open. We are not experiencing oneness at that degree every single minute of our life. That's just not where we are right now. And yet we can practice embracing that which happened, accepting it, giving ourselves grace through this whole process, allowing ourselves to grieve, to feel everything, to feel the anger, to feel the sadness, to feel the frustration, to feel the anger again, the rage, and then the deep, deep sorrow underneath that, because those are just cover emotions. Underneath that is sadness, is fear of not being loved, because we're in the holiday season and Christmas, as I release this episode, is around the corner. It's happening now, really. It's a time for joy, and it's a time for forgiveness. It's a time for love. And let love guide the way, because true love forgives. It's coming from a deep wisdom within, from a deep longing and readiness of just like, I'm done with fighting. I set myself free from this. And I decide I choose love over this. I choose compassion over this. I choose kindness over this. And I have a greater understanding of why things have happened. Again, this is a hot topic. For everyone, it's different. Please take what resonates and just let yourself be inspired. Or maybe you have something that you want to share, then I would love to hear that. So, my loves, for the sake of your beautiful amazingness and your beautiful life that needs to be lived fully, give yourself forgiveness today and over the holidays, and whenever you can practice it. Allow grief to happen. Go through the stages. Maybe at some point you're ready to let go, to surrender with compassion and kindness. That's the ultimate acceptance. And that is grace. I see you tomorrow. Namaste.